got on the wrong path. I was a young kid making a lot of money, started doing things I shouldn't be doing, gambling, drinking, partying, not much drinking, but whatever. I did a lot of things. So as my career went that way, I lost it all.
Hey, it's Julian. I'm the CEO and founder of Loan Options, and today I've got a very special guest with me.
Chris Christofi. Thank you very much for having me, Julian.
No, my pleasure. Obviously, we're connected through Alicia, and I'd heard so much about you. I'd seen of you on LinkedIn a little bit, but was super keen and excited for this catch up. So I want to, if we can, just rewind a little bit because you've had some journey. It hasn't all been easy. Would love for you to kind of tell your story. Like, how did you get started with Reventon? What was the backstory that led you to that point, and how have you got to this point now where you're sort of, billion plus in property and property sales, and written books, and obviously speak in a lot of areas where people want to listen to what you've got to say.
Well, first of all, it's a passion. I love real estate. So if we go all the way to the start, I'm the youngest of 4 siblings. My parents are both Greek Cypriot, and I've been very, very fortunate to be raised in a great home, had all the love and support. My father gifted my first 3 siblings a wedding present, which was $30,000, which was deemed for an investment property. Now I said to my dad, I was about 19, Dad, I want my money early because I'm never going to get married the way I'm going. Inflation is going to take all that money, so give me that money now, Dad. He goes, what do you need it for, son? I said, I want to buy a car. He goes, nah. You find a piece of real estate, Chris, and I'll give you the money early. So I started working for a firm, for a Brisbane-based developer, and I fell in love with the property industry. I was an in-home consultant, so I was going to people's homes, I was consulting, and I was getting them to come to the office to meet a finance person and a property person, an expert. Anyway, I'll tell you a bit about that a bit later on as we progress. I found a 3-bedroom, double-story townhouse in New South Wales, Tweed, $183,900. Sold 6 years later for $328,000. So I made a 480% return on my $30,000 deposit.
Yeah.
But I fell in love with the industry. Working in the industry, I just fell in love with it. I wanted to know more and more and more and more. I was a sponge. So I bought my second property, my third property, my fourth, my fifth, my sixth. I bought about 8 properties. I was doing quite well. I was in a very high-paying job. I was in that job, but I became national manager. So I was making $400,000 a year. I was maybe 23, 24 years of age. So I was doing quite well.
Yeah.
I was always natural at selling. I was selling since I was 10 years old, and it's something that I've enjoyed. And I've studied a bunch of courses during my career as well, but it's just a passion. Communication, sales, dealing with people. It's just something that I love to do. So I was always quite good at it. Then I coupled that with learning, studying, and becoming more refined. Anyway, at the age of 24, I was working for a company that went into receivership, and that owed me $780,000.
780?
Yep, because I was like a franchise. So he used me as a prototype because he knew that I'd be successful because I have a proven track record. I was great at selling. I built teams around the country. He goes, I'm going to give you a franchise. Because I said to him, I want to go on my own. He said, Chris, stay. I'm going to give you a franchise. I'm going to sell them for $250. I was the pilot case. I was always going to hit a home run because not being arrogant. It's just what I did. I knew it very, very well. Anyway, that company went into receivership, owed $780,000 to me. I had all these properties, and it was a lot easier to get lending back then because low doc loans were more prevalent. Yeah. You didn't have to have all these income statements. So I could borrow more money. So I was borrowing money, and that was all well and good while I had that great income. But when that company went into receivership and owed me all that money, I had to sell all my 8 properties. I got on the wrong path. I was a young kid making a lot of money, started doing things I shouldn't be doing, gambling, drinking, partying, not much drinking, but whatever. I did a lot of things. So as my career went that way, I lost it all. So I had to move back into my parents' house at 24 years of age, had a debt of $348,000, no properties, no car, back into my parents. So I thought, wow, contemplating bankruptcy, but I thought, I never quit. And my sister-in-law goes, that's not like you. You'll never take the easy way out. And I thought, what do I know? I know I love real estate. I know I can make a lot of money through real estate. What did I do incorrectly? I over leveraged and I waited for the market to keep going up, which it did, and I could borrow more money. But when I lost my job, when a few things went wrong, I wasn't in the right headspace and everything went down quickly. I had a deposit on one apartment for $106,000, which I lost because I couldn't settle. So a lot of things were happening, but I still had that knowledge and that drive. And the worst part was when I moved back into my parents' house, and I've said this many times before, people say you eat humble pie. I was eating that for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That's all I had. And I moved back into my parents, having to start again, having a debt. And I knew that if I owe debt, it's as good as me writing my word on something. I'm going to have to pay that debt. I need to pay that debt. I'm not going bankrupt. But the hardest part of that story is I had a 1-year-old son at the time, and he contracted bacterial meningitis. So he had to go. He was hospitalized for 2.5 weeks. I almost lost him. So my son is profound deaf. He's got 2 cochlear implants now. He's all well and good now, 21 years old, fit and healthy. Obviously still profound deaf. He always will be. But that all happened in the space of 1 year. So I thought to myself, you know what? Now's a good time to start a business. I started Reventon, which is the company you mentioned. We've helped over 10,000 clients. We've sold over 3,500 pieces of real estate, got over $1 billion under management. Very fortunate to win a lot of awards, feature on many publications. And that was through passion and drive. And my goal from day one, on the 21st of March 2005, was to build a fully integrated financial services provider, be able to give Australians, clients, good investment advice through bringing together all these professionals. So when I started the business, it was with one goal, to pay off my debt. And I knew that real estate was a good investment. But slowly, 13 years ago, I built a finance arm. 8 years ago, I built a financial planning arm, property management arm. It was always the goal to integrate all the services. Now we're just about to celebrate our 20 years in business. That was always the goal from day one.
Yeah, that's amazing. And it's some hell of a story. I think, when a lot of founders get excited about starting a business, they always think it's going to be an uphill trajectory. It's going to be smooth sailing. But I think that resilience that you showed, and look, one thing stayed true. You absolutely knew what skills you had, and those skills you were going to be able to use them again. The knowledge that and all the research and all the learning that you'd taken from all those years previously when you were doing it underneath, other people and, as a franchise, that knowledge just doesn't go away. The passion for property and real estate doesn't go away. So it's good that you got to, I guess, go out and start your own business. And, 20 years in business is a testament to, I guess, your will to keep pushing and keep moving forward. But I think one of the things that you mentioned before is that, you started selling when you're 10, and I'm a bit of I have a real sort of keen eye for different sales techniques and all this kind of stuff. I think when I was, I'm a little bit different. So I wasn't a real natural salesperson. My sales process and my sales ability is very, very different. It's somewhat manufactured. I have more of an introverted personality. And so I don't have a story like that where I was 10 years old trying to sell stuff. But I did always have an entrepreneurial sort of strain or streak. And but the sales part was something that I learned, sort of later in life. And I think it's one of the most important skills that anybody can learn. So I'd love to hear your story. Everyone's got one of those ones where they're selling something at school or whatever.
For me, I love people. I love communicating. I could always talk a lot. So I never felt that any human, no matter, was ever better than me. I can talk to anyone. And conversely, I never thought that I'm better than anyone. We're just human to human. Yep. So what's the difference? Why can't I talk to you? Why can't I approach you? So for me, I was just fearless in that regard. And I always thought, as a 10-year-old, what was I selling? My uncle used to sell scratch tickets in Cyprus and lotto tickets. So on the weekends, I'd grab 32. I had to pay him for 30 and 2 was my profit. And I'd take them on consignment. And I was out selling all of his salespeople. How did I do it? I'd just go up to people and speak to them. I'll take out a list of 5 tickets and I go, hey, and they go, Chris, it's my last 3 tickets, mate. Take them. They're the lucky ones. So they go, Chris, I'll take 1. I go, but it's the last 3. Take all 3. And they take 3. Then they'll buy them. Then I'll rip the other shit. If they go, Chris, you said it was the last shit. I go, of that column, I've got more. And every time they'd see me come through, they go, Chris, not you again. But I built relationships with people and I built connections. And during my career, I did a lot of sales roles. I did door-to-door for AAPT. I was on the phones for Holiday Concepts. I worked for Fastway Couriers. I've sold real estate. I've sold finance. There's not a sales job that I haven't done. I loved them all. And within the first month, I was in the top 3 salespeople in every role. And there's a few reasons for that. Number one, I was very good. I was a natural. I had an extremely high work ethic. But I always did one thing, which I encourage everyone to do. When I worked into any job role and they'll employ me, I'd say, who's the best person here? And I can tell you the best person in any one of these roles, who they were, their names, their surnames, and I'll say, that guy. Can I spend 1 week with them? Can I sit beside them and can I piggyback? Barry was the best at Holiday Concepts. Valeria was the best in-home, plus Duncan. Mario was the best door-to-door. Colin was the best at Fastway Couriers. I just wanted to sit beside him because I know that I can reach that level quickly and even surpass that if I listen. So I remember when I got hired at Fastway Couriers, had the interview, the guy liked me. I was very, very good at talking. He goes, Chris, do you have any questions? I have a question, yeah. What's your question? Do you have any leads? He goes, as many as you want. Just wait here. How good's this? Coming from door to door, I'm knocking like an animal on doors. Comes back, throws what used to be known as the white or yellow pages there. Goes, go knock yourself out, Chris. As many leads as you want there. Pick up the phone. Cool. Can I ask you something else? He goes, yeah. Who's your best guy? He goes, Colin. Can I spend time with Colin? I meet Colin. Colin, I'm Chris. I'm new here. What do you do? How do you get sales? He goes, Chris, you see this paper here? He goes, yeah. This says here that we sold in Sydney to this person. So I walk into the same supplier and I say, we're your preferred supplier in Sydney. That's genius. He goes, is that all you do? He goes, yeah. So I look at where all the sales are coming from Sydney. I knock on the Kin branch in Melbourne. I go, wow. Mario at door to door, he goes, it's a numbers game, Chris. So at another guy, every time you did 6 signups for APT, you would ring the bell. 10 signups, you'd do the gong.
Yeah.
I only worked there for 4 months, got a bit of a discrepancy with one of the owners. There was only 2-3 occasions where I did not hit the gong. I used to be that motivated. I would not have my lunch until I at least did the bell. And I used to go there and I used to have a strawberry Freddo Frog in my right pocket and a crunch in my left. If I didn't hit 6 sign-ups, I wouldn't eat my Freddo. If I didn't hit 10, I'm not eating my crunchy. Very rare I would go back without eating my crunchy. Now, I had other people that were starting. They'll do 1 sign-up and I'll have a cigarette break. Now, I wasn't a smoker, but I'm thinking, are you serious?
Yeah.
You've just got it. You've just did a deal. Go start knocking. Build some momentum. But Mario, who taught me, he was very, very different. He goes, Chris, you got to knock on as many doors. Convert the no's into yeses. No's one closer to yes. Keep going. It's a numbers game. And I thought, all right. So when me and him used to door hop, one door, we used to motivate each other. We used to inspire each other. And we kept keeping that energy alive. But I could also see other salespeople that would walk in. I thought, you're not going to make it. You're toast. After a sign up, you're having a break.
A cigarette break, yeah.
But it was different mindsets.
Any break, yeah.
And for me, I thought the more conversation I could convert, instead of making $100 a deal, and I think it was about 60, if I knocked on 10 doors to make 100, I wasn't saying that was the $100 when I converted. I say every door I'm knocking on is $10. $10.
Yeah.
So it kept me motivated, kept me inspired, kept me happy, kept my attitude up. And the good thing was when the more and more I saw, the more I could convert, the more my attitude would be up. So for me, being able to have those conversations was important, but I built resilience through that. And I say to a lot of people, they go, Chris, I'm not as extroverted as you. I said, okay, I'll give you an exercise and I guarantee it will improve your sales. I said, what is it? So I've trained a lot of teams as well. I go, will you do it if I tell you? They go, yeah. Promise? Yep. It's going to make you uncomfortable. You're probably not going to like it. No, I'll do it. But it's very simple. Okay. And you'll be more effective. Will you do it? Yes. Cool. Just say hello to people when you see them. They said, what? When you walk past, smile and just say hello. Have a great day. So if anyone walks with me and they see me walking past people, they'll see me look in their eyes and they'll see me say hello. Just that. How you going? How's your day been? If I'm in a lift, I'll start a conversation with anyone. Now, what does that do? It builds my mindset. It builds my skill set to be able to have that conversation. Now, I always had that in abundance anyway, but the more and more you do it, you sharpen your skills, you sharpen your axe. So for me, I like doing that. I teach my kids to do that. Teach them to look at people in the eyes and smile. Say something. Just be polite, be respectful. That's it. That will build your confidence.
It's a small thing, but I can see how that will build people's confidence. I mean, just some people struggle to have a conversation, and I'm not talking about like, trying to approach a woman or trying to approach a man if you're, whatever, but just simple conversations, exchanging pleasantries with people. It's almost like now these days, because people speak to each other through a phone and stuff, they've kind of lost a little bit of that. You can pick up the phone to any one of your clients at any point in time and just check in with them and see how that's going. And then before you know it, by the time they're off the phone, like, oh, my cousin needs this, or my cousin, and then all of a sudden you've got another client out of it. But I feel like in the age of the phone and text messaging and DMing and all this kind of stuff, it is lost on some people.
It's becoming people are becoming socially challenged. I think it's going to become a commodity, a skill that you could sell people to be able to communicate face to face. Now, I walked in here before and said hello.
Yeah.
Did I greet your 3 people and shook their hands?
Yeah,
say hello?
you did. Yeah, of course you did.
So I do. I live and breathe that. And for me, when I was playing poker a lot, because I love reading body language, I love studying NLP, I love studying everything. I'm a student of all this stuff. I could watch people and talk to them, and based on their responses, I could tell how they played. So based on how they are as human beings would determine what they're like as poker players. If you're conservative, you're probably a lot more conservative. I could read pot odds. I could read how they would play based on how they were talking. I'm loose and aggressive when I play. I can turn anything. I'm fearless. I live the same way as I play poker. Yeah. And a lot of people, when you get to talk to them and you're just chit-chatting, or when I'm in that sales process and I'm talking to a client, I'll ask questions, and that information is going to help me being able to guide that client to where they need to be. Yeah. But I think the key point is doing it with genuine care and generally wanting to help someone. So for me, I'll only sell people a product that I feel can benefit them. I won't waste my time either. Even though I have the ability, I believe, to sell anything to anyone, I wouldn't do that. I want to make sure that now property was something I live and breathe. I bought a ton of property personally. I sell what I sell to my clients, my team, my family. I buy what I sell. Pretty easy to talk about it when you believe in a product that fiercely.
Yeah.
So I found
something in Australia, it's really one of the most useful tools for building wealth. Like property, it's hard to argue there's anything better in Australia.
It's the most predictable. So they say 73 out of 100 millionaires do it through residential real estate. It's the most safe and predictable way to build wealth. Now people go to me, oh, do you think this is a good strategy? I'll never knock another strategy, whether it's commercial, I do residential, whether it's shares. All the strategies are good if you employ the right discipline. And if you go to someone who lives and breathes it. Don't talk to him about shares if you only own real estate, but don't tell me shares are a bad investment either, because I know people that are successful in all disciplines. You just need to find someone. Now, what I teach my clients and what I personally do myself, I have quite a lot of my wealth in residential real estate because it's predictable, it's affordable, and it's easier to duplicate. Like I did when I was younger. The only difference is now I didn't over leverage. I put safety nets in place. As you mentioned before, I wrote that book, one which was an Amazon bestseller, Your Path to Wealth Brick by Brick, that shows people how to safely invest, get into the right properties, to duplicate a process. So for me, that was important because it was also a give back strategy, but it's also something that I want people to know how to invest. I lost money when everything was going the other way. I lost the deposit, so I make sure when you come to Reventon and you can't sell on a property, I'll find someone else that can, and I'll make sure you get your money back. Even though I copped the other end, I could have went both ways. Well, you should have signed that. You shouldn't have signed. No, I want my clients to make sure they walk away either with their deposit or with a good solution.
Yeah. And when you're looking for ideal clients or ideal customers in your situation, what are the key things that you're looking for? Obviously, they need to be ready. They need to be in a position, but do you create all this content and all this sort of the book, and are these all lead magnets that bring back? Like, are you selling through, I guess, this through this authority that you've built up by being an industry leader, by being so successful in your own right, or are you still finding that there are certain channels that people flock to, or there's certain things that people, there's every man and his dog on TikTok thinks they're, the best at property investment and strategy and all the rest of it. How are you filtering through this?
How do you cut through the noise, or how do you find leads?
Let's start with how do you find leads first, and then how are you? The second follow-up question would be, how are you cutting through
The noise.
The noise.
I'll answer both. So the first one, I've been fortunate to be in the game for a very long time. So I've been in real estate for close to 25 years, and I'm just about to close my 20th anniversary for Reventon. Not many people have that tenure in real estate. To be able to help 10,000 clients and place so many people in real estate to build portfolios and have 400 Google reviews, it gives you that social presence. But as you mentioned, every second person's an expert. I need to ask a few things. Do you live and breathe real estate? Do you have a big portfolio yourself? And how long have you been around for? Do you have a proven track record? Now, anyone can say anything on the internet, on a TikTok, on a social media application. But for me, I want to go further than that. Now, I wanted to provide resources like the book. I give our information for free to start because I'm that confident that people are going to say, I want to work with you. If they don't, they don't. But I know one thing for sure. If they come and speak to us, they're going to be wiser. They're going to make better decisions. That's the reason I got into real estate. Now, do I want you to use me to buy real estate? Of course, I'd be lying to you if I didn't say yes. But if I had a choice of giving you knowledge and you doing it better or not giving you knowledge, I'm picking option A because I genuinely want people to make money. I genuinely want people to build their wealth. And I genuinely want people to be able to retire. So, of course, once you have helped people, the law of reciprocity, if you know what you're saying and you're good at what you do, they're going to come to you. I never ask people to trust me a second time because my results will do the talking.
Yeah.
Only once. Now, in the first time, like with anything, you need to do a leap of faith. So before you make that decision, it's very, very important you do your due diligence, you do your checks, and you get to know that person. So I also do seminars as well. We've got a very, very big database. We've got an outreach clients for new leads. We do basketball events, client events. I've got 4, 5, 6 pillars which I look for leads because what I find, and I've used this analogy many times, pillars for marketing are like legs of a chair. If you've got one, you're going to be very unstable and can break and you're in trouble. I have 4 or 5 ways in which I generate new business and pillars, and I look at where they're coming from. And every part of the business, end of the year, I assess how much first business came in because I know that I can sell second, third, fourth property if I do a good job, and I always back my team to do that. But I also need new business coming in every year. So I look at that part. And the second part of the question you asked me was, how do I cut through the noise?
Yeah.
I'm just genuine with what I say. Our results speak for themselves. I value people's business. I don't need it. So if you want to work with me, cool. If you don't, fine. So there's no real nice way to say this. I can say no to clients.
Yeah, that's a good position to be in though.
And it's not, and it's a no dickhead policy for both ends. And also when I speak to a client, I say to them, you're interviewing us or we're interviewing you. If we're not the right company for you, no problem. But I want to find that out early on in the piece, not later on. I want to know if you proceed, this is what we're going to charge, this is how it's going to work. Are you comfortable with that? Do you want to work with us? I want to know early on in the piece, not 4 or 5 meetings in.
Yeah, no, I truly believe in that. I think you need to work hard to put yourself in that position where you put it pretty nicely. You value their business, but you don't need it. I think when businesses are first starting out and if they haven't really got the runs on the board yet and maybe they're still figuring out how they can pay for, the mortgage and all this kind of stuff, they often will take clients that are going to be really, really high maintenance or not worth the drama, not worth the headache. But, it is nice to put yourself in that position. And if people do see the value in your offering, it doesn't matter what it is that you're selling or offering or what service you provide. If they see the value in it, those are the people you want to work with because they're the ones that you're actually truly going to be able to help. If somebody sees one part of your value proposition and only sees that one part and you do your best to try and communicate everything else that you offer and how you're different and all this kind of stuff, but they just see that one part, that person's going to be really hard to, firstly, even if you do the very best you can at setting expectations, it doesn't matter what you do, you'll never be able to please them because they're just locking onto this one part. And then when it comes time for them to pay for your service, they're only seeing the price in line with that one thing that they wanted, but you're offering everything else on top of that. So,
very good way to put it, but you've got to look at it like this too. With any client relationship, we do all the work and it takes hundreds of hours to research a property, hundreds of hours. Now I'm talking go to the right area, go to the right lender, do all this. We can do it for you in 6 hours by putting all those resources together. And I also use this analogy too. It's like finding a needle in a haystack. But what if I told you, look in the top of the haystack, it's on the right-hand side 1 centimeter down. You'll find it quicker, won't you?
Yeah, much quicker.
Because you know where to look and what to do. So we've done this thousands and thousands of times. We've seen all the challenges from builders, from solicitors, to developers, to banks, property managers. We've seen it all. So we know how to navigate through it. Now, do we have the answers every single time, all the time? No, but we know where to find the answers. We know how to equip you with better information. So going to someone that knows what they're talking about, or that you can pick up the phone and they can look after you, is so, so important when you're talking about your investment journey, when it's in real estate. And that's why I've got a lot of our clients coming back, is because do we have challenges? Sure we do. Do we have clients that we need to navigate through things? Of course we do. But I look at every challenge like a new lead coming in. Pick up the phone and fix it straight away. Because usually something small turns into something big. But also, when our clients sign up with us, I always say to them, when I was servicing the clients, this is where our service begins. It doesn't end here. Because a lot of, you bought the property, see you later. For me, we've taken a commitment, a journey to be in this relationship together to help you build your wealth. I take that commitment very, very serious. I'm very jovial. I have fun at the office and I have a very, very fun team. But when it comes to the commitment that we make with our clients, I take that commitment very, very seriously and honor that they chose our company.
Yeah, that's how do you get, because that obviously starts from the top, right? But how do you filter that and make sure that sort of that value, how do you make sure that doesn't dilute as it goes down through the rest of your team?
Constant communication. I think like tracks like. So you'll always track the team that has similar values to you if you instill them. I'm not talking about values. I love the saying, don't listen to what people say, watch what they do.
Yeah.
They'll always show you who they are. Just trust that process. So with me, with real estate, with my commitment to my clients and my work, it's absolute. It's unquestionable. Now, my team, like I've had people come in and ask me questions. I said, look, I'm going to give you a biased answer. When you walk out, pick any of the team members, grab them to the corner and ask them certain questions. I bet you they'll say similar responses. They go, how can you be so confident? It's because we live and breathe it here. Now, is that not to say that one occasional team member, when you've got 50, 60, 70, won't be like that? Sure. But you soon find them out quickly. Or that might not be the right place for them either. I'm not saying it's the be-all and end-all place to work. Your culture fits some people, it doesn't fit others.
Yeah, that's right.
Your job is to find out, is this person happy? Can this person thrive here? And can we do great things together for our clients? If you can't answer those questions, yes, not a problem. This might not be the company for you, or we might not be able to give you that. That's fine. It doesn't have to be a bad conversation. If anything, it's a positive conversation. It's a great conversation.
Yeah, no, the values thing is really important. I think people get alignment or misalignment causes issues, but when you find people that are aligned, and if you've established clear company values, I find that it's the best way to get the buy-in if they understand the mission as well. Like, this is what we do, and if in your case it's to build wealth for as many Australians as possible, then they all understand. Well, that's why we're here. This is our purpose. This is what we're here to do. And anything that's outside of that goal, we're just wasting time, or we're getting distracted by the shiny objects, as some people do. But you've obviously had an up and down journey, and it's great to have your perspective on this, because you're sort of at one point considering bankruptcy, and then now you've got how many people is in the team now?
We've sold a couple arms, but at its peak it was close to 80 with 78 with everything that we're doing from every business. Now we're looking at scaling and tightening up certain areas because we're looking at certain JVs. But that was probably around about a year ago, 2 years ago. Yeah,
amazing. So you got this massive team. You got all these different sort of value adds within the same vertical. So you got property, you got wealth, financial planning,
finance, accounting, and property management.
I mean, when you're building something like that, and you're going to have obstacles, no doubt. You've had plenty since Reventon. When you founded that, you obviously. How are you preparing yourself for that? How are you? What's the best way if young founders are listening? They're going to make mistakes. Maybe they haven't run into their similar situation yet. where it's catastrophic. You know,
I'll give you 2, 3 takeaways. Number one, don't compare your chapter 1 to someone else's chapter 50.
Yep.
What I mean by that is, hey, what would you do in this case? No, what were you doing when you were a founder? Compare yourself to when someone else was founding it. Number 2, find a successful mentor that you respect that can help you navigate through their situations. You're not unique. Everyone's going through the same challenges. See them as an opportunity to grow and really thrive. So the hardest things that have happened in my life, I've taken them on knowing I'm going to become so much better. I've taken them on knowing, wow, this is my opportunity to grow. Who's going to show up now? Now, I've had a lot of challenging circumstances, and I'm not unique. I'm not special. Everyone has. What I will see is, how do you show up when there's a challenge? Do you still show up to work? Do you still roll up your sleeves? Do you still give it your best? That's all. So when things were very, very tough for me, I made sure that I was there. I showed up to work. I rolled up my sleeves. I needed to work hard. I needed to give an example to my kids, my son at the time, I've got 4 kids now, to my team. And more importantly as well, you need to look in the mirror and say, you're showing up. You're going to get this done, no matter what. So go through a mentor. Go look at it. Now, Ray Dalio talks a lot about this as well. Whatever you think you haven't seen in your lifetime, it's happened before. Just look a bit wider. Look at different times. Yeah. Look at money cycles. So everything's happened through my career.
So that's saying nothing new under the sun, right?
No. Yeah. I've had GFCs.
Yeah.
I've had COVID, like most people have. Yeah. And I can't wait to hear about your story to tell me about that. But I see that as great. I expanded my business in 2008. I found an investor in the midst of a GFC. And they go, Chris, you're crazy. That's exactly why I need to do this now, because all the great companies are found through challenge. Yeah, they grow, they thrive. Chris, are you seriously going to go get investor money now too? Yeah, of course. You're nuts. I said, no, not really. I go, this is the time to make it work. Now when things are challenging, I'm looking at things in my business. The analogy is like lifting up the hood and looking at things that I never had to look at before. Where can I make some efficiencies? Where can I redeploy capital? Where can I become more effective with my team? How can I still offer opportunities? Now, sometimes you've got to make tough decisions which are not easy. But one of my mentors told me, Chris, indecisiveness is decisiveness. People will see that. They'll see that as a sign of weakness. So sometimes the tough decisions or the tough conversations are the most important. But if they're handled with respect, if they're handled with humility, and with understanding, you're benefiting yourself, you're benefiting your team, and you're benefiting the company. So no one likes having tough conversations, but for me, I've learned to find opportunity in those conversations. There's a couple of good books called Radical Candor that help you with these conversations. There's so many good books and so many learning tools that can actually help you have these difficult conversations that really will help your business go to the next level. And I feel any good CEO, the bigger you are, the better your company gets, the more equipped you are to handle these challenges, conversations, and being able to move forward.
Yeah, I agree. And I think for most founders, they should be reading, at least 10 books a year. I would say twice as much as that. And it doesn't matter if you read the physical copy or audio book, whatever is best for your learning. But there's so many great books that talk through this kind of stuff, but also help you deal with, and some of it's really good training for your team. So, I don't promote anybody in our business unless they read the Extreme Ownership book by Jocko
Willink. Yeah. How to lead Navy SEAL teams and win.
Yep.
Great book.
And it's about accountability, but accountability at the highest level when it could be life or death. And then when you scale that back and go, okay, well, business is not necessarily life or death. Then all the decision making becomes easier. All of the way that you think about things changes. That book, literally, you give that to somebody, they read it, and if they read it properly, they will not be the same human being for the rest of their life, because everything they look at from that point on is about how could I have done things better? Instead of pointing fingers around the room and this person should have done that, you just go, no, I could have done that.
The best part of that, well, there's so many great parts of that book. Even if you communicate something to someone that didn't understand, how could you have communicated better? Yeah. That level of communication. Now, I love that book, and for me, I'm an avid learner. The more experience I get, the more I'm learning. So I've done a lot of books this year, and for someone I had certain challenges. I've got dyslexia, ADHD and all this stuff, so I can't focus. So I thought, how can I learn more? So what I do, and I share this tip whenever I can, is I buy the hard copy and I buy the audio and I place my headphones on and I get the book read to me while I'm reading the book. So I can consume at least one. I've completed almost 60 books this year through using that methodology. It allows me to stay focused. And because I can read it and listen to it at the same time, I can absorb the content quicker.
Yeah.
And if there's a certain part of the book where I challenge, I pause and I read it and I look up the word and I try to put it together. And I do this every day. So mind feeding for me is a ritual.
Yeah.
It actually gives me peace and calm because I'm learning things. And also too, it's a necessity. You must be upskilling. Your team deserves it. Your clients deserve it, and you deserve it.
Yeah.
So someone that's not growing,
slowly dying.
Yeah. But also for me, it's where I find my most joy. I love learning.
I want to talk about potential pathways and careers because, there's not some clear mapped out process to be in the industry that you are and do what you're doing now. What are some popular pathways that you see some of your best team members? So if somebody's listening, they go, okay, if I wanted to join the Reventon team, or if I wanted to join a business like Reventon, here's the sort of pathway that I would need to follow. Some of
the best people that have worked with me, I give them a copy of my book. And this year our theme was Kaizen. So every year I have a theme.
Yeah, continuous
The Japanese proverb, always getting better. And I gave everyone a signed copy in January of Atomic Habits by James Clear. Now, my team members who excel and really do well are the ones that complete the books. And I have lunch and learns, compulsory, and I also have masterclass at Reventon that you don't have to come. So the ones that actually show up and read the books or that do these classes that are outside their learning, I see who's stepping up. So I see everything. So when they don't show up, when they do show up, I take mental notes of it and I see I need to spend more time here. Now, I'm not encouraging people to be working outside hours or anything like that, but the people that want to get ahead, they do extra. The people that want to work more and learn more do extra. Now, I'll never force that upon anyone. I'll physically see who wants to do it. Now, part of the curriculum I did a Harvard course with 8 of my leaders. Cost a lot of money for the company, but I want to constantly upskill them and also put part of their contract. They can spend X thousands of dollars on their skills each year if they upskill, even if it helps the business or not, because I generally want them to get better. But I find the people that go beyond for themselves, and I say, guys, what's more important than the company, the team, and everything? They go, what? I go, to yourself. Spend some time educating yourself and getting better. I want you to be better, faster, more efficient, and more professional. If you want to do me a favor, get better at what you do, or get better at something. Focus on health, spiritualism, whatever it is. I want to see you grow as a person. So for me, I try to facilitate that as much as possible. But if you want the answers to who do I think will do well, it's the ones that show that initiative. So I was reading. I never read many books when at school. I was never a good student. With the exception of maths, that's the only thing I was good at. I just didn't like learning. It bored me. But now I love learning. But I read books around self-help, wealth, stoicism, life, energy, anything at all that I feel that can better my pursuits to become a better leader or human being, I read. Constant.
And you mentioned stoicism. There's a book set somewhere here. Maybe they'll bring it out. Anyway, but yeah, it's got the Marcus Aurelius meditations and Seneca's books. But yeah, I'm a big fan of those as well. I think that helps you deal with adversity. I think those books, I think that's something that most people aren't naturally equipped with. Some people are born leaders, born sort of being able to deal with adversity, but it's pretty rare. I think that's something that's learned. You have to
sharpen your axe though.
Absolutely.
And Ryan Holiday's another great person.
Yeah.
The Obstacle is the Way. He's wrote quite a lot of books on philosophy. Talks a lot about Seneca, Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, and all that. Very, very.
I went to see him when he came to Town Hall here in Sydney.
What do you think?
It was pretty good.
I saw him in Melbourne. Yeah. I'm a big fan. I've been reading his stuff for a long time. And if you read the Stoic books and you talk about challenges in business, what's the worst that can happen? The worst thing that can happen, and I talk to my clients and I say, people go, I'm risk averse. And I said, okay, what do you plan on doing? They go, we're scared. I go, do you realize that by not taking any action, you are adopting the riskiest strategy possible when it comes to your growth, when it comes to your wealth, when it comes to your future? You say you're risk averse, but your actions are employing the riskiest strategy ever.
Yeah.
Take action, do something. So you mentioned before, what would I tell founders? Just give it a go. Go find people that inspire you and start. The hardest thing of anything, when I say, but they go, Chris, what's the hardest part? I said, grab a pen. They go, yeah. Grab a pad. Put it on the pad. Write one sentence. Do something. Yeah. Start. One positive step every day. And then you'll look back and go, wow, that's a lot of momentum I've built.
Yeah.
But the biggest thing is just take action. What's the worst that can happen? And Tim Grosvenor talks a lot about this, who was Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant's trainer. He wrote a book called Relentless. He wrote a book called Winning. I did his masterclass as well. Amazing, amazing. He said, if you think, I'm going to misquote him, but if you Google it, it will come up. You can't take the pain of success. Wait till you get the bill of regret. In other words, not taking action. Everything was about action. And I guess he was working with Michael Jordan for so many years. And Michael Jordan goes, I don't pay him to train me. I pay him so he doesn't train others. He knew it was that important to get his mindset right when he needed to flick on. And there's so many great examples. You can, in any industry, jump on YouTube, pick up a book.
Yeah.
There's so many ways. Find a mentor, but do something and do something positive every day. And it's going to compound. And like for me, it's become a full-blown obsession. When it becomes to business, when it becomes to self-learning, it's become, people go, how did you get all those books done? I go, sometimes I wake up at 3. Sometimes I wake up early. Sometimes I go to bed late. How do you do it? I said, I just get it done.
Yeah. Well, I think that's a good way. I mean, there's a lot of people that have said to me before that, you know, they find it hard to read and stay focused and they get bored and there's a lot of undiagnosed ADHD and stuff like that. And so I've never heard that way before, listening to the audiobook while you're reading.
I needed to find something for myself.
See, when I was younger, I used to read the physical books, and, you know, I was a kid reading Harry Potter books that were as big as me, you know, and other books. I was a real nerd. But as I got older, and I think as I went through school, I think I just became so off that way of learning, you know, just like reading text, like it just wasn't interactive.
Social media, you said it before, Julian, people's attention span's less. Now, me being able to look at you and have this conversation, it's one of the hardest things I've had to learn to do. Like for me to stay focused and to be able to deliver, you know, the only time when I was actually paying attention? When I was learning something. Like I can't watch TV. Like my partner goes, watch TV. And I said, I prefer to shoot me. Yeah. Unless it's comedy relaxes me. I'm on the phone reading or doing something. I said, I'll sit beside you, but I have no interest in it. I'm not learning anything. Not that I care if people do it. Great. If that's what you like, do it. But for me, it can't hold my attention.
Yeah. And that's why a lot of people started to like podcasts in the audiobook format, because I think it's more conversational. And if you've got the book, let's say Extreme Ownership, and Jocko's reading it to you, it sounds like he's talking to you. Do you know what I mean?
He's a machine.
He's one of the best audiobook narrators ever. So I think people need to find what way works for them. You know, it could be videos. You know, one of our data scientists, the guy's a freak. He's one of the smartest blokes on the planet, and I mean that. But like he'll watch a tutorial that's meant to take 12 hours on something. It might be a new data science package or something, whatever it is. And it's meant to take 12 hours. He watches it at 3 times speed. I mean, I can't understand what's going on at 3 times speed.
But he can. And he absorbs it.
He absorbs it.
That's insane.
And so, you know, he's like, he can just consume and absorb and retain information like he's not human. Like he's just got a hard drive up there, not a regular brain, you know?
Some people do.
And so find what works for you. If that works for you, like I'll usually I can listen to audiobooks and stuff at like 1.5 times speed. That's about as fast as I can go before I feel like I'm not retaining the information.
I'm 1.7. You know? I listen at 1.7. 2's too quick. But for me, reading was hard. So every 5 to 10 books, I punish myself by having to read one book front to back, because I could take months to read a book before. I never read many. And every now and then some are not on Audible either. So it allows me to really focus, and I find it very, very hard. But it's like with anything. You keep doing it. It builds your confidence up. It's like the example you used before about the sales. Just say hello. Because what's going to happen is, hey, how are you? How's your day been? What's going on? You'll start asking 2 or 3 questions or 4 questions. And what you'll do is subconsciously you start to build a connection with people. And you start to know more about people. And for me, it was very, very easy because I love people. I love talking. I love communicating. I want to see, how can I serve? How can I help you? And for me, you mentioned sales, but it's communication.
Yeah.
It's a life skill. Swimming's a life skill. Communication's a life skill.
Sales has become a dirty word. You know what I mean? You think, you don't want to sell to people. Like, sales is a way of life. Everything in business is sales.
I love it.
I did a business. I was a panelist on a small business month thing that the New South Wales government and Parramatta Chamber of Commerce were doing. They asked me to speak, and then they asked me some questions and stuff like that. And they said, if you could only give one piece of advice, and I'm like, look, business is not one silver bullet. It's not that. But if I have to follow the rules of what you just asked me, learn how to sell and learn how to service your customers. Those are the only two things that matter. If your back office is not as tidy, if you're servicing customers well, then you'll be okay.
You're bringing in revenue.
You're bringing in
You've
revenue.
got time to fix that.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's also nice. Isn't it nice having a nice conversation with someone?
Very good. Yeah, I think just having the ability to bounce energy off one another, exchange ideas. Probably if we kept talking about real estate, it's not my area of expertise. There's only so much I can hold a conversation there. But we start talking about books and learning, and then all of a sudden,
but you hire people that are good with that, though.
Of course,
exactly. If I wanted to discuss your products and services, just find people that are good at what they do. And naturally, if they're enthusiastic, you're going to want to know more about it. It's going to wear off on you. And now when we do, obviously, my podcast, so I realize you like Jocko, you obviously like Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I love mixed martial arts as well.
Yeah.
There's so many ways you can connect with people through similar interests.
100%. And I want to ask you, because on Instagram and other social media platforms, there's also a lot of sales trainers.
Yes.
And you see the Elliott Army, you see Andy Elliott and his crew, and then you see Jeremy, what's his name? Jeremy Milner? Something. But there's all these sales trainers, and they're gaining a lot of popularity on these social media platforms. And you don't always obviously agree with everything they say, but are there any sales trainers that you're seeing, or any videos or clips of people, giving sales tips and stuff like that, where you're in agreement with them?
I'm in agreement with a lot of them. You look even at the old days, when I was doing Tom Hopkins, Brian Tracy, everyone knows Grant Cardone, you got Dan Locke. I listen to all of them. I do so many sales courses. I love it. Half the things they're teaching me, I was doing as a 10-year-old instinctively. But you know what I wasn't doing? I'm becoming more refined. I'm becoming better. I'm always a student. I know I can always outwork anyone in this topic because I love it. But you can learn good things from each trainer, and you can also learn things not to do. So there's always two key lessons you can learn. So do I agree? Yeah, sure, I agree with a lot of them. Some of it's a bit BS, and they're trying to very hoo-ha to get clients across. Sure, that's part of the game. Yeah. But I don't have to listen to it all. You find what works for you. Now, I can tell you, all old sales techniques work. How you deliver them has got to be based on your personality for it to be genuine. Now, the hard closing, the tough questions and this and that, I can thrive on that because that's who I am as a person. But if I wasn't, I wouldn't. So if I'm teaching someone who doesn't have that ability in them, I'm going to teach them a different way. It's like having kids. You can't parent them all the same way. You need to understand what their strengths are. So a good salesperson, like dealing with a client, has to understand, is this a director type? Is this a related type? What sort of questions am I asking? Do they want me to cut to the chase? I will find that out through talking to them. What line of work are you in?
Me?
Yeah.
Sorry, I thought you were asking a rhetorical question.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm a finance broker. I'm in finance and technology.
And what days do you work?
Every day.
And what times usually to work?
Let's say 7 a.m. to 11 p.m.
So these questions that I'm asking, when I need to close you to get to the end, I already know a lot about you.
Yeah. Yep.
I know you're a hard worker. I know you work for yourself. I know finding time might be a challenge for you. So I'm going to throw at the start when we're chit-chatting. So if something very important came up, Julian, could you find some time off to be able to look at your future later?
Yeah.
You would? Cool.
Yeah.
Now I know you said yes. So when I get to the end, I already know that information. But now I'm building rapport with you and I'm asking you certain questions. Remember that poker analogy that we used?
Yeah.
Everything's useful. So all that information. So you always ask questions, ask more questions, get more information. The better you get, the more sophisticated the questions are you going to ask. The more to the point you're going to get. And I say to people, it's like I developed a technique called 3-4 deep. Like, what does that mean? I ask 3-4 questions about a topic that's important to them. I maybe even go deeper. I go, where's the nerve in a tooth? You go deep. Go, cool. That's where the information that you're looking for is. So when you're surface level and you're asking questions like this, you're not going to get to the core of what's going to make someone move. If it's a very deep or generational thinking, I've got to go a little bit deeper to find that nerve point, to be able to act. How do I do that? I just ask questions. I find out what they think, how they think. It's easy. It's a conversation.
Yeah.
When you go to a specialist, what's the first
Yeah.
thing they do?
Yeah, they just ask you questions.
Do they keep asking questions?
Yeah.
Cool. They don't tell you, tell me, where are you sore? How long has it been sore for? What have you discussed before? What have you taken? They're diagnosing their challenge or the issue. Yes? Sales is exactly the same. You're either a sales professional or you're just a salesperson. It's only 3-4% of people in sales, according to Tom Hopkins, are sales professionals. They can ask those questions, that are seen as a sales advisor, like a specialist. Otherwise, you're like a salesman.
One of the traditions we have on this podcast is we normally get you to wrap up with a 60-second pitch. So I'll just go 1, 2, 3, go. And then I want you to present your service and why people should deal with you. And so we'll give you
67 pitch. No.
60 seconds. If you don't use all the 60 seconds, no problem. We just don't want it to be too long-winded. I think you sort of, let's call it an extended elevator pitch. An elevator pitch where if you're going from the bottom of the center point tower to the top.
Okay.
All right. You ready?
So, yep.
Let's go.
Who am I talking to, you or the camera?
Just talk to me. Talk to me.
Okay, so my name's Chris Christofi. I've been in real estate for over 25 years. I've helped 10,000 clients get into the real estate game. We can help you grow, build, and protect your wealth for now and generations to come from putting a smart, effective strategy through putting the right professionals in place for you. What we've managed to do at Reventon is to simplify a complicated process through buying residential real estate, but not over leveraging and being able to buy your second, third, and fourth property. It all starts with a free no obligation conversation to see if you can start building wealth today.
Amazing. Thank you so much, man. I really appreciated that. It was a great chat on sales and your journey is incredible, mate. So congratulations on all the success you've had. And no wonder why Alicia was telling me so much about you.
Thank you very, very much for having me on the podcast. Happy to help anyone if they reach out to me. Happy to answer any questions as well on all my socials or chris@reventon.com.au.
Tell everybody the books again and where they can find you, how they can follow some of your stuff.
Your Path to Wealth Brick by Brick is the name of the book. It's an Amazon bestseller in 3 categories. If you type in Chris Christofi, there's a ton of things that come out. LinkedIn, Instagram, emails chris@reventon.com.au. All my contact details are reventon.com.au, which is my company. Myself and my team are happy to assist anyone getting into the property journey. If anyone takes away anything from this podcast, just act on something in a positive manner, whether it's through me or through someone else. Just do something to secure your retirement.
Amazing. Thank you so much.